Morning. We are at Petroglyph National Monument, and Ben wants to say hi.
Hi, Daddy.
No?
No.
Okay, I thought he did. He was saying hi, Daddy. But anyway, we are at Petroglyph National Monument, and we are walking the Rinconada Canyon trail. It's really windy, so I hope you can hear me. But this is a 2.2 mile loop. It says it's easy to moderate. There's just some loose sand, and there's not much elevation gain or anything. But there are the potential for critters, and also some areas where the children shouldn't go. There's a lot of, it's a very guided path. There's a lot of fencing where you're not supposed to cross. So we're gonna keep the littles up on the, got Brooke on the freeloader, and we've got Ben back on the Lilla Baby. So we're gonna walk on in here and see some petroglyphs. Okay, so real talk for a minute. A lot of the reviews on this trail said very little elevation gain. Maybe it's little on paper, but when you're carrying a 45-pound child on your back and walking up a sandy hill, I would put this more towards moderate. I'm sure the rest of this hike is fine, but the loose sand while going uphill isn't very fun. But it's a beautiful day. We're in the mid-60s or so. It's partly cloudy. So we have our jackets on. I don't know if they'll stay on for the whole hike. Probably not, but the wind is chilly. So pretty good hiking conditions. And this is a really interesting terrain. Let me flip it around the other side here. So you see all these really dark rocks over here. This is what the petroglyphs are carved in. We haven't gotten to any of the petroglyphs yet, so I'll show you those in a minute. But this is all basalt rocks left over from volcanic activity in this area a long time ago. And the people hundreds of years ago, I believe the petroglyphs were carved by Native Americans, Spanish settlers, and even some American settlers in the late 19th century. When you scratch this basalt, it gets really light underneath, so you can see markings really well. So that's why all this stuff is here. And we're actually like right next to a bunch of neighborhoods. So obviously everything grew up around this, but I imagine back then this was a pretty alien looking area. Just because all of a sudden the rocks are really dark. So it's kind of neat.
You see all those rocks? Yeah. Lots of rocks. So many.
We just encountered our first petroglyph. It was a quadruped of some sort, probably a deer. And we're realizing now that some of these are going to be pretty hard to see, and especially hard to point out to the children, because you're like, oh, it's that rock right there next to that other rock. There's a lot of rocks out here, so hopefully some of these are a little closer to the trail and a little easier to see. There's no way I was going to get a photo or video of that petroglyph. There's just no way. It was pretty faint, even at normal eyesight. And apparently coming close to the middle of the day isn't the best time to see these because of the glare on the rocks and the glare off of the sand.
Guess what time it is?
Guess what time it is?
Middle of the day.
It's 12:18. It's about as middle as you get. So we're starting to get a closer look at some of these rocks here. Some of these are huge. And there's a couple drawings in this cracked one here right in front of us. Kind of hard to see. Looks like animals of some sort. Tara has already shed the pack and her sweatshirt, so it's pretty warm in the sun. Here we go. Found one that's pretty close to the trail here. Looks like a figure of a human. Here's one we can get to really close on the edge of the trail. Looks like a bird of some sort. I'll use my shadow. There's the beak and the belly, and then the feet, and then the tail up this way. It's really neat.
Daddy, see, it kind of looks like a face. Oh, and there's one right there.
Yep.
Come on, look, you see one right there, over there,
Brooke, how's that sage?
right there, and right there. There's a lot to take pictures of.
So there's a couple more petroglyphs here that are closer to the trail, so I can actually get them on film for you. This is a herd of grazing sheep, and this little sign here says that the sheep weren't brought to this area until Spanish settlers brought them in the 1600s, so they know roughly when these petroglyphs were carved.
So we've been traveling in New Mexico for a couple weeks now, and we've been looking at these beautiful mountains. What do you think about the mountains, Tara?
I picture seeing myself not being at the top of them.
Why not?
Because just imagining how much we had to climb, and I am especially not doing those.
Those mountains, let's look at those real quick.
Ugh,
Those are the Sandia Mountains, I think.
too tall. They're just
Right outside of
too
Albuquerque.
high. They're too high up.
But I think we're going to take the tram up to the top
Really? When?
on a day that's not so windy. It's very, very windy today.
Yeah, because it'll be super duper windy up there.
Yeah, so we got to try and convince Daddy to go up on the tram with us. You think he'll do it?
Nah.
Probably not. He didn't go on the little mountain. I don't know if he'll go on the big mountain. So
Whoa, falling over.
we'll see. But it's definitely different from Virginia. We were talking earlier that we don't have all these rocks just all over the place that we see a lot around here. So it's cool though.
And the only mountains that we have apple trees on them.
Well, yeah, when we got to the Blue Ridge Mountains and Carter Mountain, those are the ones we've visited.
They
Not in
have really
Virginia.
good apple cider.
Yeah, they do. Alrighty, so let's walk. We got to catch up with the littles and Daddy.
And good cinnamon donuts.
Some good cinnamon apple donuts.
Cinnamon.
But yeah, so we're gonna walk and see what else we can see today. We're coming out of the
Apple pie
Rinconada Canyon right now. We saw the petroglyphs and we're on the return trip. We're still on the return trip. Tara and I are trying to be quiet while we walk, see if any animals come out and visit us. We heard anything?
I'm old.
So we're gonna continue the walk, but I wanted to show you kind of a long view of that very strange terrain with those basalt rocks. All the petroglyphs that we saw were over that way. Back home they have snow and ice, and not a lot of snow. Coastal Virginia doesn't get too much snow, but they definitely have gotten some snow with the nor'easters that have coming through, and we've been enjoying this beautiful weather.
All right, we made it. We just finished. It was about a 2.2 mile loop. The clouds really rolled in on us here towards the end. We actually got a little bit of sprinkle right as we were finishing up, but I think we're right on the edge of it. We're not gonna get much of it, but it definitely took the sun away, which was nice because I ended up carrying both of the children, so it was about 75 pounds. Ben on my back, Brooke on my front. Ben actually fell asleep, which is good, but we're gonna let him play for a couple minutes here before we get back in the truck. I'm gonna head back up to the visitor center, and Tara's gonna finish her Junior Ranger booklet and get her badge and get her swearing in at this particular national monument, which she's really enjoyed.
So I give my promise
Give me a promise.
as a petroglyph,
It's a Petroglyph
National Monument,
National Monument.
Junior Ranger,
Junior Ranger
to protect
to protect
and preserve
and preserve
the natural
natural
and cultural
and cultural
resources
resources
of this park.
of this park.
So there are a few things that I am very afraid of. Heights are one of those things. So of course, when in Albuquerque, you come to the Sandia Peak Tramway, which is going up the mountain behind me right here. It has one of the longest spans in the world. There's a little 80-foot tower up at the top there, and then between that tower and the very top, it is over 1,200 feet, I believe, and about 900 feet up. I'll have to check those numbers in a minute. But it's one of the longest spans in the world, and it goes really high. I'm not looking forward to this, but I know the views are going to be spectacular, so here we go.
Running with the nightlight, hearts burning for the first time. Reality is closer, but we're not getting older. Dawn at Picasso paints you and me in yellow, and now will soon be over. We're soldiers and we're higher, higher. We're higher, higher. We're higher, higher. We're higher, higher. When the light arrived, we're strangers with nothing more common than before. Before the night started to tease us with warmth and such, music, love and touch. We were rolling, laughing, floating, and there's your eyes again. Running with the nightlife, hearts burning for the first time. Reality is closer, but we're not getting older. Dawn at Picasso paints you and me in yellow, and now will soon be over. We're soldiers and we're higher, higher. We're higher, higher. We're higher, higher. We're higher, higher. Closing my eyes to see what the city smells like now.
We are at the St. Patrick's Day Balloon Rally here in Belen, New Mexico to see a bunch of balloons, we hope. We got up super early this morning and are here at 7:30. So hopefully we have a fun morning.